Good evening, everyone. This is Evelyn. I have a Metatron read, and I have the read on the table, as you can see. First, what I wanted to go through, because the Metatron read expanded on this, is I decided to record my meditation when I went to sleep last night. And I actually did an hour and 52-minute meditation. I have information for an hour and a half of that hour and 52 minutes, so it's a lot. And I ended up turning my video off after I was falling asleep, and I hit the button. It happened to be literally 3:33. So I wanted to bring you this information. It's not going to be whole. Take it as it comes to you, but this is the information I received, and it needs to be developed a little bit. But the information that I did get needs to get out there so that other people can get that coding and that information to perhaps develop it within their own abilities as well. So I wanted to bring that first, and then the Metatron read went into that, plus some other very beautiful messages. And then I do have the read on the table. I still have like 3 messages of the day if I ever get to them. If not, it's okay. But I do need to get this information out. So this video was done last night. I think it was like 1:43, almost 2 o'clock in the morning. And I went into it asking about galactic travel, as well as, what else was I clarifying? There's something else I was clarifying, but they didn't really get into that area, so it doesn't matter. They can't remember it right now anyway. But I'm going to let you know what I did experience so that you can take from it what you deduce. So the first energy that was coming up was, I was seeing some seaweed-like plant. Excuse me. It did look like some kind of seaweedy or kelp, or even like an aloe plant, but I felt like the arms on the plant were just moving and folding into each other much quicker than they should for a plant. It was just very weird. I'm going to show you the picture of, I just did a rough drawing of it, but kind of like this energy here. That was the first thing I saw. So that kind of energy, aloe, seaweed, but overactive energy, very fast moving and entangled. And then the second thing I saw was a monkey. It wasn't a squirrel monkey when I wrote my notes, but I felt like it looked like a squirrel monkey, but bigger. And then when I looked up the different monkeys, because this was a whitish face monkey, and there's a lot of darker face monkeys, I thought maybe it was a marmoset, or, maybe it was a squirrel monkey when I was looking, but this comes up in the Metatron read what it was. So this was very interesting, but I think it was a baby monkey, because a lot of times the baby monkeys have lighter faces than the parents do. And it was, I was getting not dark hair, but light brown hair. It wasn't dark brown either, but it wasn't red, like an orangutan. So we'll get into that when I get there. But so I saw a monkey, and the monkey was just looking around, very curious and so cute. And I was then seeing the monkey from above as they were crouched, not in like child's pose, but crouched down on their legs, but in the same kind of energy as child's pose. But I was seeing the monkey from above their head, looking down at them. And then I was seeing like a blue space station. So pay attention to what I'm seeing, because it's the sequence of events kind of develops what they were showing me. So I have this plant, and then I see a monkey. And then I was astral traveling, and I saw a space station. It looked like there was some blue lights or blue coloring in the station, but it was very vague as I went by, because I went very quickly by. I thought maybe it was passing a satellite, but perhaps a blue ship, like I was entering into something. Yeah, and I remember it being kind of like a rectangular entrance. Then I saw an Indian with a headdress on, but it was this elaborate headdress, and it was like a teenage kid doing their homework at a table, but they had a headdress on. And the headdress, don't mind the face, I just did it really quick, but the headdress had this elaborate cloth all the way down like this, you know, but it was a traditional headdress like that. But this was beautiful, and it went down to the floor. It was like tapestry with golds and reds, and I think there were greens in there too. And then I went through this eye-shaped portal. So everything as I'm astral traveling is very etheric and sheer. I'm going through a lot of, you know, nebulous clouds, but it's not dark, dense clouds. It's very sheer, but sometimes it blocks what I can see, and sometimes there's different densities of that clouding, so I'll describe that as I go through. And originally it's not heavy clouds or anything, it's just, I was then seeing a spaceship that looks like a rolling pin. You know, it has nubs on two ends and then like a cigar shape in the middle. But again, the energy was very vague and sheer. And then I noticed myself at the ship, floating around right at the end of the ship, but very close to it, like I was by where the engine exhaust would be, but not like exhaust in a 3D sense. It was more of that, again, that nebulous energy. And then I went by a crevice where the energy seemed to be like sucked down into a crevice. I wasn't, but I was just above it, watching the energy go into it. It was very rushing into this crevice or crack. And then I saw some kind of sea creature. Like it was I didn't know what it was. It looked like the shape of a stingray type of thing, but it had like a collar around the head area and then a nub on top. But it was flowing like a flat fish, like a stingray would. So I did this quick drawing right here, which kind of shows, it's not a very good drawing, but that kind of energy. So I was still in space. I keep going. I'm astral traveling as I'm going. But there's just more nebulous area like the Milky Way energy. But there was some sexual energy that was coming in as well. And for me, I have trouble meditating for, you know, long meditations because I do tend to get a lot of buildup of that sexual energy coming in. And then, of course, it brings in the twin energy, so then it's, you know, it's not somewhere I want to go. But this was feeling very webby or like strandy, you know, the etheric cloudy energy, the etheric energy, like flowing through it. And then a cloud, but still very vague, not dense like a cloud. And I'm still seeing the stars most of this time. Sometimes it's harder to see the stars because of the nebulous cloud type of energy. And then sometimes it's just the night sky and I see the stars very well. And then at that time, I was 16 minutes in and I felt the need to breathe deeper, like the air got thinner just at that moment. And then I was hearing something in the background, something like hup, like it was like a machine cycling, but I didn't know what it was. There were no specific spaces, just very fine cloud energy. And then I saw a cross, like a metal cross, but it was also like a jellyfish, but really big and floating in space, but on its side. It wasn't like a jellyfish where you'd see the head on top and then the legs underneath. It was like floating sideways, which you see jellyfish that way as well. But I associated it as being like the plant that I saw first when I started the meditation, you know, with the legs flowing. So it seemed similar in movement, but it looked like a jellyfish floating on its side. But there was this metal cross in the front of it, which was weird. Like a little crossbar first, and then it was like the jellyfish was attached to that. So then I felt like I was around a ship. And again, the shape of the rolling pin was coming up, and I'm floating around it. The sexual energy was filling up my womb. The energy was pulsing like right in my face, outside of myself, but vague again, like engine vapor, but still outside, but I don't see the stars clearly anymore due to the energy field. And now it's very sheer, but also sexual energy as well. And then I saw a man. And it was a man, it looked like a human energy, but the shape of the human wasn't like I would be used to. The body was very big, very broad shoulders, but the head was much smaller. It was very interesting. And they were like standing on a spaceship, trying to put something in. I saw them keep bending down to try to kind of reel something in, like if you were on a boat and you're trying to pull the anchor in. That's the kind of energy I was getting from him, but it looked windy. And like I said, he's standing on a spaceship. There's no uniform, no protection or anything. Actually, the clothes he was wearing seemed loose and flowy. I think he just had a brown shirt on that was big. But again, like I said, his chest, he had a very big upper body. His legs were in proportion to his chest, but his head was not. It was smaller. And he was, as he's looking back toward me, he was actually calling back to an older man who was closer to me with white hair, and he looked like a shaman. And he was sitting next to me. And it was very windy, I noticed as well. The shaman was sitting there relaxed. He wasn't worried about anything. He wasn't worried about this other man. And then I felt like I was inside of a space teepee. But when I ended up doing the drawings of these things, the teepees looked more like igloos. But I was getting teepee energy. So it might have been more of that shaman energy, but in that igloo type of shape. But I felt like these were like way stations in space that either I was traveling in or I was stopping in on the way. And now that I drew it, I'm going to show you some of the drawings I have from this page. All right, so again, here's the drawing of the jellyfish that I was seeing with the metal bar on the top of it. And then here's the really rough sketch of the man energy I was seeing, okay? And then there's that little igloo shape that I was getting that I thought was like a space teepee. I felt like it was sheltered, but still that sheer energy that I keep experiencing, that nebulous cloud energy that's very sheer, and I can see right through it to the stars. It just makes, it's, you know, I don't see the black sky because I have this floating, cloudy type of energy all the time. So I'm right next to this older man, the shaman. He's not aware of my energy right there. He may have been, but he wasn't paying attention to me. And then again, the sexual energy was filling up, it was coming into my body, it was filling up into my womb. And now I'm about 23 minutes into the meditation, and I started seeing what looked like a cookie cutter in a triangle shape, like literally looked like a cookie cutter, but I was sure it was bigger. And then as I got closer, it definitely was much bigger than a cookie cutter, you know, probably more like a spaceship size. But I was seeing this cookie cutter triangle, but very big as I got closer. And then I was right next to it in space as the field was opening up again, and I can see the stars really clearly again. Then right away back into the nebulous energy field, moving through space. And then it was 24 minutes, and I felt like I was descending downward all of a sudden. And it wasn't like a fall or anything. It was a purposeful, it wasn't straight down, but a purposeful shift in direction, okay? But going downward. I felt like I was in a tunnel that was nebulous travel, but more directed. And then I was getting literally the word space-time continuum. Then it just got really dark, and I hadn't experienced this energy yet in this meditation. It was just dark black energy as opposed to all the kind of nebulous cloud energy I'd been getting. But I was still seeing a few stars through it, but it was more dense and dark, black, not white. But in this dark black energy, there were like holes in it where I could see it. It felt like light. The way I wanted to describe it was light, but it wasn't actually light. It was the nebulous clouds that I'd seen before popping through this dark cloud, peeking through the darkness. And again, the white densities were always multiple different densities, so it's hard to describe because some of them are like, you know, like whispery thin, and then there's other like cloud densities which were denser white, like a cloud would be, but not often. It was mostly very sheer. But the dark cloud reminded me like of what a skunk would put out. And then at 27 minutes, the sexual energy was still coming in, but now it was filling up to my stomach. It wasn't just my sexual area and my womb, but now it was filling up to my stomach as well. And then I was in some kind of triangle ship, stuck at the point. So that cookie cutter energy must have been these triangle ships. But then I'm seeing one really close up where, I don't know if it was a docking station, but I could definitely see the triangle points of the ship. It was very defined in shape, but it was still transparent. And I was below, at that point looking up at the bottom of the ship. But it literally had one point of the triangle stuck into like what we would think of as stuck into a mountain. But I don't know if it was because they got stuck there or because it was a holding station. And it was a purposeful place where they put the tip of the point and then they can stay there. So I felt like I was in a way station. I wasn't seeing many stars at that point, but multiple big bulbous clouds of energy. So as opposed to what I'd been experiencing this whole time, all of a sudden there were more dense groupings of clouds. They were more bulbous, and I just drew this quick drawing, that there were multiple sections. None of them had a specific shape, and they kept changing, but it was more dense there. And it was hard. I was sat on it for a bit to try to get a size out of it, but I couldn't because they kept moving and changing shape. And then at 30 minutes on the dot, I was getting lion energy. And I literally saw the energy of a lion, and then I was getting LYRA energy. And I asked, and that was a yes for sure. So I was hovering in a field of nebulous pieces. It was hard to see the space at that time. And I was now free again, right after that, seeing the general star field. My womb and stomach were reacting to movement within it. It felt like I was moving through space and yet being funneled down in a Y shape at the same time of energy. That energy of being pushed in a new direction. I was moving forward and yet being funneled down at the same time. Then the sexual energy moved up to my heart as well. I was feeling some dark energy around me. I saw an entity being nearby, but I wasn't afraid of that being. I do feel like it was in a dark cloud, a dark energy space right there though, but it passed by pretty quickly. And then the field opened up again, and now it was like all of a sudden really clear black space, okay? So I was getting this energy, so instead of being through this milky cloud, all of a sudden the center energy was all really dark, clear space, and all of a sudden this nebulous energy moved around me, but I wasn't in it. It was just like kind of circling around me. And I was just in very clear, direct space as I was going forward. It was framing me as opposed to being in it like I had been the whole time until this point. There was some kind of flame I saw over to the right. Equipment and metal energies, and this was more dense, like mass. It was in front but below me to the right. And it wasn't solid, it was transparent. The flame part of the ship beneath me, I can't make out what it is. And then the white clouds were getting more density again. They were getting whiter, or bulbs of energy, flickering out like exhaust. And then darker white or denser white coming out of a central place. Then I was seeing a shape that looked like a CT, because it was like a tube, but very short, like a CT would be, as opposed to an MRI is a very long tube, but the CT scanner is a very short tube, like a donut shape almost. But I was also seeing some kind of arm that would protrude out of this cylinder and then go back in again. So it was like this shape here. I don't know if I showed you the ship, but this is the ship energy I was seeing. Okay, so now I'm 35 minutes in, and I was seeing a ship. Now I was seeing like a mothership. It was like a 3D, metal, heavy ship, metal, like a battleship, but this was a spaceship. It was very big. It wasn't fully round because I was getting like a multi-centered ship, with different annexes and stuff, or offshoots of the ship. And I don't think the offshoots were identical, but I wasn't sure. I could see some windows, but I couldn't see in any windows. I didn't see any light coming out of those windows. So just a very general drawing of that I was seeing here, with the extensions outside of the main ship here. And again, the sexual energy was very intense, and it was up to my heart. And then I was in a very dense field. It was hard to see the stars now, like a field that had folded in upon itself. And it's not like I was really seeing this as the energy I was getting. I was seeing it, but also that was the message I was getting. And I was asking, what is my purpose here? And I felt like I was being implanted. The intense sexual energy and the movement within And then I was again seeing lioness energies and intense sexual energies building over a few minutes. So then I thought I was seeing a rocket perhaps. It was shaped like a pencil, but like a silver metally type of look. And then because of the sexual energy, I'm like, were they using a device on me that I wasn't aware of? And then I was getting this dense energy of a mushroom-like energy, and it was hard to see the stars again. But again, it was that energy of folding in within itself. I was seeing a heart shape in the middle of a nebulous field as I was traveling again. And there was like a heart cut out in the middle of this transparent shield as I was traveling in it. So now I literally feel like I'm traveling in a shield in front of me with a heart in the middle of the shield. And here's just a rough drawing of that. So here's that pencil like energy that I was getting, and then here's like the shield, and this is the shield from the side like I was in it, and the heart was right at that dot, and this is the heart from the other angle. So again, the energy was collecting within me. Now I was getting pressure all the way to my sinuses, but I was literally feeling my body filling up. Energy to the stomach and then to the heart, and now it's in my head. I was then getting a dense ribbon of energy. Again, I wasn't seeing the stars anymore. And then as soon as I wrote or said that I couldn't see the stars anymore, it would break up again and it was clear. The whole sky was covered in nebulous cloud as I was traveling. And then I was just getting energy of seeing a lion pic again on my iPad as I was writing this stuff down in the morning. The clear, I would get clearings, and I go back into more whitish blobs coming toward me. Very nebulous around me at the same time. Nothing very focal. It just kept coming and going through space as I was traveling. And this is typical of my space travel. I tend to go right in there and I just keep going and going and going, and there's not always a destination there for me. Actually, more often than not, there's no destination. There's this energy of knowing there's no place I have to be. I feel like it's just me wanting to go home, which I'm very comfortable out in space. So then the energy was focusing again, the sexual energy was coming in, but it's coming into the whole body. So now it's going into my fingertips and my toes, and now I'm at 47 minutes. And then I was going into a very dense gray area. And I was wondering if the gray had to do with the sexual energy that was now filling up my whole body. I was seeing an upside down cigar-shaped ship, which was weird because there was a person in it upside down. But again, it was a sheer energy, and I was seeing some lights flashing within it too. It was a reddish color. And here's the picture of that, like a cigar-shaped ship, but it was upside down with this person in it. I felt like there was a nebulous being over me while I was still traveling through space. And then I'm on something, and they're hovering over me. The energy was very intense. It was intense to hold it in my body, like you can imagine that sexual energy building and building and building, but without being able to release it. It's a holding station kind of energy, like I'm a filling station. And I was literally getting that energy of the igloo kind of shape again here, where this was like a holding station where it's empty here, like a lean-to I was getting. So I felt like I was in a ship at that point at 52 minutes. An open ship, like I just showed you though, like a modern lean-to. Like 3/4 of it was solid, but once I was open and nebulous. I feel like I was inside, but then I start seeing the stars again, like I'm traveling again. They want me to not focus on the stars, but to fill up, quote unquote. I feel like I'm connecting. And then I see like a giant hand sinking into the nebulous field that I was in. And then they were telling me the message that they were trying to show me or make me understand the energy that it takes to become one with the ship. And they were talking about when you're able to, as a human, fly your ship without any, gas or a powered engine, that kind of thing. They were showing me what it means to fly your own ship. So I still felt like I was inside, but I was still seeing those nebulous energies. It's like the womb energy. The womb energizes the ship. So this is the message they were giving me. I was seeing a shuttle of some sort then, like the teepee or igloo shape again. But this time I was seeing a color that it looked black, but not bright colors. It was very muted colors. A black shape, but a red bottom on it with a hatch. So again, like a teepee shape or an igloo shape with a hatch where the door opened upward. And again, I was seeing some bright red lights flashing through it from within. Then I was seeing a person come out on a rope, like being let down on a rope, etherically, coming out from a ship. And again, the energy was still filling up within me. And at that point, I felt like it was settling out and they were finished doing what they had to do with me, but then they were getting me to reposition and extend my arms and legs because I felt like they were working on my left hip. I then started seeing hats, like hat-shaped things. They were red or white colors to the left, but then they would disappear. And then I would see them again, and then they would disappear. And then I was seeing flashes of red light again, nebulous energy to the right in the shape of a staple. And then just silence. All right, so here's the hat-type shape to the left that was coming up, and then on the right, this staple-type energy here. And then at that point, it was 1 hour and 19 minutes. I felt like there was a mantis being present. I have met a mantis being before. It was a benevolent energy. I don't know if this was the same being. I wasn't afraid of it, but it was very nebulous. It wasn't like seeing it very clearly like I had before when I met a mantis being. And that was pretty much the end of it, but I'm not done yet because the Metatron read expanded on some of this. Yes, and like I said, it ended right at 3:33 when I turned off my iPad last night. So I put out my Metatron read, and here's the picture of the read. Okay, so there's my Metatron read. The underlying energy's over here, and then I deal across the 12, and then these guys over here, and then these are the last cards out. So the bottom of the deck for the Metatron read was the creation card, which for me is very much about Gaia and the collective awakening. And the Akashic Records in Review were also in the underlying energies. The first card out was the New Dawn, which is basically the sun rising and then shining light on the valley so that there's no shadow in the valley of death anymore. And the colors that came up were yellow. That was the only color in the read, the solar plexus yellow, as opposed to gold. And then the elements, we have air. I think that was the only one. Yep. Air was the only element, and then, I'm sorry, no, water's there too. Water and air, and the color yellow, that was it. So when I started this read, the underlying energy, the first card there was the Akashic Review. And again, I was getting the Akash, which is AKA, shh, we're in a library. For wise review at the library of mind, spirit, and Gaia creation, the purple moon, which is that 0 point field, the divine feminine high priestess needing a timeout. Again, the periwinkle energy was coming up of reflection. Per I win key, or per I to use in the key of creation of Gaia, the collective awakening or flowering to abundance and expansion. So the first card out was that New Dawn, and so the dawn was coming up as the Dan, or the DNA, plus the W, which is the 2 U's, to clear the decks and clear the valleys in that high vibe welcome. Receive the sun to condense the shadow backpack, which has been coming up a lot this week, about the sun shining on you, which then creates the shadow behind you. It kind of gives you a focal look at your shadow, like it brings all the shadow together in one spot so you can see it clearly. But it was also reiterating the backpack of the shadow, right, to transmute the energy, so you always have fuel on board, all right? So this is how we're getting into the message they were giving me in my meditation. So again, energy waves, and the aqua gold rose line, love energy of the heart, steering the ship as the hermit needs to then take action right after hermiting, that movement is needed to move that stuck energy within your body, where the land meets the sea, meets the sky, meets the I am, and then the void of 0 point field, the purple moon. And then the Om was coming up as the Om, and then silence is actually the 4th beat. And so then I was getting the Om of the, what I noticed is that Om is the AU, and we talked about AEIOU yesterday, which was coming up again because A and U are the beginning and last vowels, AEIOU, and A and U are an Om. So for some reason I wrote the EIO, which isn't in the Om, next to it, which then was bringing up the ELO, which we were talking about yesterday, right? Because the lowercase l looks very much like the 1 or the I, and the cosmos mirroring you, and was coming up as the glass. You, the 12 phases of the crystal and the crystalline DNA, and the Om energy of the AUM, and then the space with the purple moon, which is the 0 point, which is coming up as that 4th spot. The purple moon between. 20 points, and remember 20 is the 2 of the Divine Feminine with 0, which is source energy backing them up. And then the 1-to-1 energy again of the 2 cups with the string attached like the old phone was coming up here. So 1-1 is now a code for the 2 cups on the string about communication. And then the portals and nulls were coming up on the planet, because there's a lot of portals on the planet, but there's also a balance to every portal, which was coming up as a null, which isn't good energy for us to be in. It's good energy in the portals for us to be in, but not the nulls. But I was then getting the message that they were exit and entry points. The 0 point within the portals and the nulls without, the mountains and the valleys, the beaches and the oceans, which were coming up as the portal energies. And then the cards that were out were 9, 48, and 20, and I was guided to write them down, and they added up to 77. And also, of course, it looks like a combination of a lock, 9, 48, 20, and then they equal 77, which is that sovereign energy, but also the 7-7 of the 7, which is not of this world. But again, the code to the safe. The tree of life. And then the sacral orange energy was coming up to the Christ gold, right? The sacral orange would be the womb area with all that sexual energy coming in to the Christ gold of the gate. And so when I saw the sacral orange coming in, I immediately got the orangutan. So the monkey that I saw was coming up as the Bornean orangutan, the world's largest tree-dwelling mammals in the world. And they live in the Borneo and Sumatra Islands. So when I was looking up definitions for Borneo and Sumatra, other than that they are the islands, Borneo is the islands of Varuna in Southeast Asia. And then the definition was coming up describing this as without the horse, like H-O-R-S-E, dash horse, H-O-A-R-S-E, like being the throat horse, the horse-to-horse merger. I didn't know what that was, so I looked up what that was. And so, of course, in the Wiktionary, it has to do with two words that sound the same but are spelled differently, like 4 and the number 4. And that was at 1221. The island is shared by Indonesia, Malaysia, and Brunei. That's the Bornean island. And
okay, I found.
And there's a Sumatra orangutan there. And I was getting the energies of this when I was in my meditation last night. They were showing me where I leave the planet. The tree of life on the journey, and the jellyfish air plant came up as well. And again, regarding my astral travel. So, let's see if I have it here. I don't know if you've ever seen I never saw it before, the mushroom air plant. And so what did I get in my meditation last night? The mushroom plant looks like an aloe plant fingers with a mushroom on top. But I was also but it looks like a jellyfish. So all 3 of those things came up in my meditation last night. So I know that they were guiding me to this island for information about the portals, but also the orangutan and the plants, because we're supposed to get some fluorescent type plants coming into I don't know where they're supposed to come to, but that's what I felt like I was getting here. They were telling me where they're going to show up, because the ETs are going to be gifting us with some kind of fluorescent or phosphorescent plants that glow. And they have some fake ones out there where they plant nanoparticles in them to light up, but they're not organic. These are going to be organic plants. So I was getting at that these islands is where they're going to show up. So Borneo and Sumatra Islands. And again, Sumatra means sea in Sanskrit. It's the largest island of Indonesia. And also that orangutan is on both of those islands. But I was getting the message that that's where I leave the planet. And the jellyfish air plant, referring back to my astral travel from last night. And by the way, orangutan, orang, means human, person, vassal, subject, citizen, inhabitant, third person, foreigner. It also means orangutan. It also means scorpion. And the utan of the orangutan means forest, vegetarian, or from without, on the outside, right, like the foreigner. So the orangutan was literally coming up as this human subgroup of third person, perhaps vegetarian or scorpion, from the forest or the outside. And then I was looking up the glow plants to see what there was online, but none of them were organic. They were putting lights in them or things like that. But look up the jellyfish air plant, you'll see what I'm talking about. So then, because the ELO came up again, I put the EE11 or the LL and the OO again that I showed you yesterday of Elohim, the ELO, which that used to come up for me all the time a couple of years ago, that the Elohim is the ELO hymn. It was like, again, that reference to his and her song, right? The Electric Light Orchestra for him. But the EELLOO is coming up as the ELO hymn times 2, because there's doubles of everything for the twins. And I showed you if you put the two E's together, the capital E's, and the 11, it closes up like a gift box. And then the other one goes into the double zeros, making it like, not binoculars, but, glasses that you would hold with a stick. And today I got a different message about that, because not only is that a gift, right? So these energies I showed you, when you put the two E's together plus 1, that equals the gift, and then you take the other one from the 11 and add that to here, the two zeros, and the 0 point field, this is like the toroidal field, it becomes this looking glass type energy. So not only is this a gift, it's usually the gift I get with the ash on top of the A and E, which is also bright light, but it's also the window to give you sight, right? Because the window is see-through, the looking glass, and the window to see through is coming up there. Also from, where's that coming up? Oh, so I was looking up, since ELO is coming up, I was looking to see if there was a word with die or by in front of it to reference the two ELOs. And DIELO means work, and then BIELO was coming up as the part of the word that meant white in White Russian, because it was coming up as Bielo-Rus or Russo, depending on the language, but it had to do with White Russian in Belarusians. It's a Slavic language in Russia. So Russians were coming in as well. And it's interesting too, because I was just talking about my grandfather from Russia. All right, so again, I was just talking about the fluorescent plants, and then now back to the read and leading the way for you guys to answer the call, to dance the dark to light dance with your flame in the right hand. And remember, in my read, I saw a flame out in space on the right. So here again, they were confirming that I did see that flame on the right. To lead the way with the flame in right hand and fly free and transitioned in the diamond light with the King of Wands off balance, perhaps too much passion there, the 23, of the dragon and the strength, the fire and the sun, affecting the King of Wands. Endings at sunset, where you are held, reflecting back your ancestors, and then the yellow of the magic pollination was coming up for joy and happiness, and of course yellow is the solar plexus. Pulling in to the yellow is the red and the orange, pulling them up to the solar plexus center, the busy bee and the water chariot of emotional well-being, the dimensional gateway 33 with 2 pillars, 2 wings, 2 flames, and the steeple on top, the shape of the cigar or pencil with wings, right? A flying ship that I was also seeing in my meditation. So it's sort of a backpack jet energy that was coming up here with the card, the 2 pillars with a shield energized by the heart. So this is literally the picture I was getting from that card in the deck. And I've shown you that Christ card of Christ standing in the middle of the Golden Gate entranceway. I've showed you that card a lot. And this is the energy that was coming up from that. So the card is a 33 card, and when you put 33 back to back, it makes this shape. And when you put the 33 that was on the card, this is the shape of the 3 on the card, looks like this is a shield over this energy here, which was then leading to this ship they were showing me. Because this is literally putting the card on its side with the pillars being, you know, the storages of energy. And here's the shield I was traveling with in my meditation with the heart in the middle of it, because I'm running the ship. So it's showing me how to energetically become one with your ship so that you can fly without any other kind of power. So it was very interesting. So the bee was coming up, the yellow flower, the dolphin, the icosahedron, which is the 20-faced crystal. And so then crystalline was coming up. And remember yesterday, the rose line and the pose line was coming up. The rose line as, right, the wedding ring that you put on your 4th finger that goes to your 4th chakra center, the heart. And of course, it has to do with Mary and Jesus. And then the pose line, which has to do with the poetry or the writing within the ring, but also the message to the heart. So now they were building on it because we have the rose line and the pose line, and now they're giving me the crystal line, the crystalline energy. And then I was looking up the man I'd gotten in my meditation the night before that I was connected to the Christ or Christ energy, K-R-I-S-T, which means to fall. And then I went back to the read of the beacon of light to shine on, to shine your light energy up, the Atlas energy with compassion for the waves that come in and splash against its rocks. And then the big bird energy of the rainbow triangle of your body with wings. And that's the card that always comes up to show me what the birds think I look like, because they think I look like them, except I'm big with wings and I have this triangular rainbow thing in the center of my body. So the big bird rainbow triangle, remember triangles to try an angle or a new perspective, with golden wings and energy shooting up out of the head. The Queen of Swords with building blocks for life. Triangular ship with wings, which I saw a triangular ship in my meditation as well. The energized body able to fly. The beacon, the pillar, and the lighthouse. On waves beating on the rock, creating energy to light up. And that was bringing up the energies of the water wheels that we're going to be using for water. Because we're going to have, there's going to be free water, free energy, the clear, right? Finding a way to clear salt water so we can just take water right out of the oceans. And I remember someone talking about water wheel type energies to clear the water. So that was coming up again here. That the human is a triangular spaceship with wings. So again, bringing us back to self-propulsion or being able to fly with your energy. And it has to do with that sexual energy, that Fryll energy, and filling up your body with it. But as a human being, it's not easy to do, right? Because you're in that 3D energy of wanting to release that sexual energy as it builds, because it gets so intense. So the big bird energy was there, which again is the yellow, which was the only color that was coming up today. The solar plexus requires pollinating or fill-up tanks. The shadow backpack from the etheric realms, which now my shadow backpack is now referencing, those backpacks that you would normally use if you want to fly around as a human being without a ship. But again, the energy of intense sexual energy, but without releasing the orgasm, is what it requires to connect with your ship in order to drive it with your own energy. Being authentic to yourself, the divine masculine, divine feminine, who are your inner children today. The key is the Fryll, which is what Elena Danaan always talks about from the Pleiadians. They call it Fryll, the sexual energy or the love energy, right? The energy of life. The divine feminine is the energy source. The divine masculine is the knowledge. Who are you today? The underlying energy is the divine masculine mind, the divine, which is the mind connect, the knowledge connect, the divine feminine connection of the Fryll to the purple moon, which is that 0 point. And then there's these really pretty birds chirping out front, which is really funny because I have somebody working on my basement right now, and he doesn't look like a redhead, but he said he used to be, which was really funny because the bird I saw was more white than black, really pretty, defined features on the bird, and then a red head. I'm sure a lot of you know what bird that is, but I'm not positive. I don't think it was a woodpecker, but I guess it could be. But anyway, really pretty. It was smaller than a woodpecker would normally be. And then there was another, oh, this was so cool. That bird was in the tree, and then there was 2 other brown birds on the ground. And next thing I know, because I wasn't focusing out there, I was focusing on doing this. The next thing I know, I just looked up. There's a whole flock just left my tree together towards the bushes to the left. And then Mother Nature was coming up in the reed with the flowers and the birds. And the 3 of the third party that just came up, plus the 33 of the Christ vibration in the card, and then the 333 of the time that my meditation ended last night regarding expansion. And then that same flock just flew off the tree onto my, or from the ground up to my roof, right in front of my front window. And then all of a sudden that same flock just turned and shifted over to the left. And then they turned and shifted over to the right. And they literally made a triangle, which was the ship in my meditation last night. So again, the knowledge, the Fryll, and the nature and Gaia. So then I was breaking up Fryll to see if any codes came up from the word Fryll. No matter whether you spell it with an I or Y, it doesn't really matter, because that I, lowercase I, and the Y are both that energy of a human with their arms up in the air. Okay, that's that 0 point energy of the Y. So the Fryll was coming up as the F. The F was breaking down to the right angle and the pi of Fi, and then the Y with the 0 point energy right there, and then the 2 L's. So it's coming up as pi y l l with a right angle up here, which is again about seeing a new perspective. So the right angle balancing the human, the pi or the 0, which is the human embodiment of source, with the line down the middle, which is alignment, being balanced, the human balancing that human embodiment of source energy, which I was just describing to you throughout my whole meditation about this sexual energy building up and what it takes to run a self-sustained ship. And then I was getting this, one of the cards, the beacon of the rock with the waves beating up against the rock, and then there's a lighthouse at the top with all the light coming out of it. This was coming up as like looking like the hat that I was seeing, but I wasn't seeing it like this, but that's the message I was getting when I looked at this here. And it looks like a jug there too. I don't know if that means something to someone out there. Again, a lighthouse at an island, and then I got the islands to go to. So it's all coming back to the meditation and the messages I was getting. Okay. So I reviewed that underlying energy again, was about the masculine with the knowledge. And remember, we both have masculine and feminine. So the masculine is the mind, it's the knowledge. The divine feminine is the Fryll connection to source, to the purple moon of 0 point. And then, of course, Gaia, that we are all connected to. And then the 333s were coming up as well, which of course is that. It's reference to religiously and also Tesla energy. And the sunrise at 137, the magician and the king of cups of unconditional love. The sunrise, the movement, and then the expanded wings. And after that kind of day, where you're out and about, perhaps out on the road as well, you need to make sure you balance. When you're on the go all day, and especially out driving, as the King of Wands type of energy they were bringing up, that remember you need to rebalance that with some of the opposite energies. Receive light, allow the sun in your face, in your eyes, to the 0 point, dark to light, with flip of a switch is dark to light, and switch was coming up as the S witch, Sophia, witch. Answering the call with flame in right hand, or in other words, her right hand man. Dance. The seal, dance is D-A-N, Dan, which is the DNA, and the C-E is seal. Dance, the seal of the DNA, the Dan, the DNA, with 2 U's of the W added to Dan, is dawn. A fire-breathing dragon, a drag on your strength. So here again, the masculine ego energy was coming up as a drag on your energy that I was just collecting in that energy of my meditation last night. The divine masculine pyramid, the upright pyramid, the pyramid of the pie and the ram and the ID, the balanced male sheep, and the ID this week was coming up as interdimensional. And dimensions, D-I-M-E-N-S, literally sounds like diamonds. D-I-M-E-N-S. So that's another word for diamonds, but referencing interdimensional energy, light. And then Dimensie was coming up as dimension in Dutch or Afrikaans. And it was literally coming up as D-I is 2, and then M-E-N-S, or mens. You can reference your period as menses, but it also means 2 humans. And it means 1. So in other words, dimens is 2 as 1. It also brings up the mind, the reasoning, the heart, the conscience, and the disposition. And then I was getting, for some reason, the P, literally the urine of the masculine, the P, at the Y in the road, the 0 point, the male sheep, interdimensional. So diamonds connection for the masculine, something about the P. And remember, dimension is dimens, I-O-N, which is connection, to human connection. And then if you say dimensional, you add the A-L, which is the connection to all. So dimension equals 2 as 1 connection. That was coming up in the read here is the fire is a drag because there's ego connected to it. And then the heart-based aqua gold of the feminine heart, the mother heart, with the rose line and the pose line, and now the crystal line. Remember, the 4th finger to the 4th chakra heart is the rose line of the Mary and Jesus energy, the Magdalene energy in the womb, the Holy Grail and all that. And then the writing on the wall is coming up as the pose line, right? The poetry inside the ring, as well as the message to the heart. And then the crystalline is the diamond on the ring and the crystalline DNA. 2 circles, 2 rings as 1, with the line down the center of pi, the string between the cups of communication, 2 heads and 1 dimens or diamond's heart, and 12 strands of circular diamonds, DNA, or sine waves back and forth in a crazy 8 formation of infinity and beyond. So then I started drawing, because as soon as I said 2 rings, I was getting, you know how the pin has the 2 rings at the bottom of the pin? One is the feminine, one's the masculine in my pin diagram. I was getting that immediately because the top of the pin is the housing. So then they were showing me the DNA strand like you'd normally see DNA, right? With the 2 lines waving back and forth between each other, and then the strands between the 2 lines as the DNA. And I was just getting 6 lines on each side instead of the 1 line on each side, right? For the 12 or the 6 pairs, as opposed to just the 2 helix DNA. But I was getting that they were giving me the energy of like housing would be around electrical wire. So the DNA, the 2-strand DNA becoming the 6-strand DNA on each side is like housing that goes around the original DNA. The double helix with housing of 5 on each strand, or 3 ladders on each side perhaps. So I was just kind of wondering, I'll have to feel into that some more, but I was getting all sorts of configurations, like the Irish knot, because the Irish knot is literally the middle of 3 circles together. And I was getting the energy of 2 Irish knots together, which then would be the 6 petals, which is the flower of life. And I was getting the Irish knots together, and that's where the the dodecahedron, or the dodecahelix was coming up. So I'll have to feel into that some more, but I'm posting the picture of the dodeca images that I came up with. One is just from expanding the sine wave, right? Because the double helix is just basically two sine waves put together, right? They're overlapping lines flowing back and forth. And the other images were of putting the Irish knot together. Like, so to make it, instead of 3 circles, it's literally a flower of life with the 6 circles, and then expanding each of those circles into the wave. So those are some of the images that I got from that. So we have the rose line, the pose line, the crystal line, and guess what the 4th one is? The ancestral line. And that came up as RPCA, which may mean something to you, but I was cracking up because 2 things came up as YMCA and then ARCP, which is the Association of Clinical Research Professionals, which was my association. So I was cracking up. It's just reordering them. So if you do ACRP, it's first the ancestral line, then the crystal line, then the rose line of the ring, right? So the crystal line is the diamond, the ancestral line is the human, the rose line is the ring, and the pose line is the writing on the wall or within the ring. And then YMCA was coming up as Yeshua, Mary, crystalline, ancestral line. How do you like that? YMCA. So it was pretty funny the way that came up. I knew they were going to do something funny like that. So I did look up RPCA to see if anything interesting came up. And it came up as the Railroad Passenger Car Alliance. But also it was a French company regarding food security net, like to make sure everyone had food. That was very interesting. So that would be very Mary and Jesus-like. And of course, this was from the Rose line, is all about the south of France. So it was definitely a reason why that French food site came up. So again, it can be the rose line, pose line, crystal line, or ancestral line, or it can be the order of the human ancestral line, which kind of made more sense the way people propose, right? The human, you start with the human. Then you get the diamond, so you can put it into the ring that you want, which is then the crystalline diamond, the pose line of the right, the rose line of the ring, and then the last thing is the writing, which is the inscription inside the ring, and that would be ACRP. Really funny. So I'll feel more into the 12 strand to see what I'm getting specifically, but it's kind of like the energy of a stent. It ends up looking like that. You'll see on my tag. So where are we? We're already in an hour. So I guess I might as well go into the read on the table for you. And again, this was my LYRAN experience. They confirmed for sure that I was hitting LYRAN energy in my astral traveling, and also the energy of being one with the ship. Very significant. And of course, everything was being confirmed in my Metatron read by bringing up everything that I found. All right, so now we go back to the read in front of you. The SIRIAN Starseed deck was cut and dealt. Oh, that's so funny. On this page, I wrote 369 Tesla. It came up on some kind of 528 hertz meditation that came up on YouTube, the 369, but I wrote it at the top. So, the SIRIAN Starseed deck was cut at 544. Let's see before I forget to show you the read. And I'm sorry if I forget to show you the pictures. My mind does get scattered sometimes. And here's the main read, SIRIAN Starseed deck. And then here's the 7-deck read that you see in front of you. If I ever show you the wrong picture, please forgive me. And if you need it, just say so in the comments, and I'll be glad to show it to you next time I come on. All right, so those are the 7 decks. And that was cut at 5:44 yesterday afternoon. The 5 is the Hierophant, the 44 is the 4 of Cups. It can be boredom and apathy, but it's also about grounding, integrating, and mastering the receiving of love, as opposed to feeling sorry for oneself. 555 to 556, the E chariot was coming up. So again, the feminine energy, the Elohim was coming up. Whatever E's come up for you in the chariot, which is the vehicle of ascension, but also infiltration. The chariot is the feminine within the masculine as the vehicle, right? The self-run chariot. You are the chariot. You are the vehicle with wings as the twins. And then OT was coming up, of course, is overtime. So OT is overtime, TO is coming up as time out because it's literally the T of the tree and the O of the human sitting underneath the tree. I finished clarifying at 610, which is the lovers and the 10 of destiny, the wheel of fortune, that high vibration. And we have the transition card or death card, the tower as the challenge card, and the chariot were the only major arcanas in the read. And before the read, guidance or the Hierophant came up. 1 cup, 3 swords, 2 wands, 2 pentacles, which is 13 and 22, which is again is the death or transition card, and the Fool of 22, with an open heart taking a leap of faith. The Queen of Cups, the Knight of Swords, the Page of Wands, all in the read, and after the read was the Queen of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles. As far as the numbers, we had double 5s, 6s, and 7s, and 10s in a lesser sense. So 5, 6, 7 was coming up, perhaps 5D, 6D, 7D, but 5, 6, 7 made in heaven. And 23 also came up at the King of Wands. So we have the 23 with the 34 of the 8 of Wands, the 45 of the 5 of Cups. And then the 710 of 0 behind the 71, which is the 3 of Pentacles. For me, that's the co-creation card. And the 1 was that there in a lesser sense with the 2 was the 12 as the Hanging Man. The code line was all about environment, and it was broken up into ENV or envy and ironment. And the code line number was 36/9, the 369 of the Tesla energy. All right, so the code line message coming up here was in expanding and contracting, aiding more expanding and contracting over the trill or the thrill. So the frill is coming up here too. But over the trill or the thrill of the angle, or in other words, the thrill of breaking the code, of seeing another perspective. The tower, the epiphany, the sudden event. The Empress sharing. And remember, sharing is the same as dividing, right? When you divvy up the pot or whatever it is, you're sharing. To augment one, to join or incorporate, and the annex was coming up here as well. And that's funny because Elena just posted a video before I came on with annex. So again, envying the spiritual irony or steel mind or trap. Also iron cop was coming up, which I had to look up, which was coming up as a movie about the human brain versus the electronic brain, and a cop who had to play against an electronic brain in order to win the case. Cultivating a field or a cultivated field, or in other words, the grandparent, someone who's learned a lot over time. The mouse and the fitra is coming up, which is the original innocent state of humans after being created by Allah. And the tower of the 3, 6 of 9, or Christ-like, or the purging state. The one, the annex, or in other words, to join. The envy of the Iron Man challenge of the mind and spirit. And then this weird word was coming up, Aphrodira, which means pencil sharpener. But again, pencil sharpener is also a stone on metal to sharpen blades. So the sharpening stone, the original human state, the tower, the sudden event, the epiphany, that can be southeast as well. The sudden event, the epiphany, and the sexual exchange of 3 sharing 1. The human, the stone, and the metal. So when you're sharpening, there's always 3, right? You're dealing with 2 things together, and the human has to bring those other 2 energies together and becoming one with it. Just like in order to remove the sword from the stone, you can't resist or pull on it. You have to become one with it, so it just melds and melts, and then it comes right out for you. 3 becoming more than each are on their own. Then the annex coming up again with envy and ironment, or in other words, which equals environment. The underlying energy was the Queen of Cups. All right, so, sorry, I didn't realize it was out of focus. Queen of Cups is this top card here with the mini cards on top. And then below the Queen of Cups upright and this is at 716, which is the Chariot and the Tower, we have guidance, which is the Hierophant, the Four of Swords, the Ace of Pentacles reversed, Six of Wands upright, and the Five of Pentacles upright. The guidance of Buddha and Sphinx, which references Atlantis, which was coming up the other day as taking the tree out of the atlas, the family tree. So if you take the word Atlantis and take out NTI, NTI means tree, and then you're left with Atlas. So Atlantis to Atlas is just the matter of the tree or the family tree. Guidance, Buddha, Sphinx in the 5D connect, or taking a rest or a break, or laying something to rest. Withholding, saving, or not offering to travel to peace, even when out in the cold, in exile, or in the Mary Magdalene cave. The Queen of Cups upright with the Six of Cups, that innocent love or innocent sweet memories, unable to get past and losing patience or temper perhaps. Or it's just not time, or in a downturn or twist of fate, the lover's receiving a passionate offer from a mystery person, or coming clean, or getting clean, keeping to oneself, cleaning up the act or space, and reaping rewards. The wounded warrior surrendering, perhaps to the hermit sovereign, which can be a Virgo energy. The King of Cups reversed, Cancer, offering passion and growth, or a project for the King of Swords to heal their heart, or a disappointment. With the Emperor reversed and a Ten of Pentacles reversed, dysfunctional family or lovers of that family, or Gemini, and then London Bridge is falling down, and my fair lady. The Emperor's kingdom falls for the lover, for heaven on earth. The fall of Atlantis, the family tree that fell away, leaving only Atlas and the burning bush. Born again in the garden of Ease Den, the ribbon around the tree, and the gift of the family without the chaos, without the bossy controlling father and the dogs, without the kids touching everything and the parents not doing their jobs. And then it was interesting because Steve Jobs and his partner Steven, they spell their name, they're both Steves, but one's a PH Steve and Steve Jobs is a V Steve. And then the Empress upright peeking out to see the fall and the embarrassment of it all. The Empress upright and the Emperor reversed, or the pen used to be mightier than the sword, but if the sword is word and thought and intent, well then you'll have to take another look at that. As the Ten of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community, with dysfunction or loss, lacking faith or stressed out or up all night, purging the empire strikes back. And keep an open mind, and beneath that, express your love. Grieving the flame that got away, and the lion that's drooling, so here's the lion again, the lion drooling, caught with their pants down in the woods or burdened by their passions, withholding, saving, no home run, and the King of Swords no longer confused about a fantasy of getting attention from everybody, that all that glitters is not gold. The King of Swords upright watched through the window with no new offers worth looking at, or tossing the fantasy, the turtle too slow to romance while others are already on dessert. Throwing out what the good book says, no altars, only girls on their knees at your service, willing to cut themselves to see what it's like to get attention from someone they like. There's no catcher in the rye in the field of dreams. There's no basis or grounds for divorce either. Teaching and learning with number 57, the separation, the heartbreak, but remember that's also to share. And then personal growth beneath that, with the 7 and the Chariot of the feminine within the masculine, in the garden of Ease Den. That is, if you don't consider energetic abuse a valid reason. And the King of Pentacles upright found a way out, their world now complete, with the heart open to start over in love at 749, the Chariot and the 9 of Cups, the Get Your Wish card. Reaping rewards, the Fool free to leap, with synchronicities, choices, and heaven in their eyes. But it's real, it's not fantasy. The Joker skywriting, astrological signs, or scared of them after a simple country life, Amish or farm, picking ripe fruit, and nothing less, with a squirrel in the attic or stealing from the treetop. The squirrel wanting to cash in on the good thing you got. With Taurus upright, Sag and Libra reversed, Gemini and Virgo upright, as well as Cancer and Pisces, with double Aries reversed and Capricorn reversed as well. The twin flames moving to peace, getting over loss and regret, dumping a load, purging, overwhelmed, and sweating it out to heal. Going forward after this read is the energy of being a disconnector at a distance, the Four of Pentacles reversed, letting go to fix, repair, or make amends. Dumping or dumped on, as the Page of Pentacles is refusing to answer calls or swallow their pride or admit poor judgment, now that the worst is over of radiation, vacation, or just being drained, or kids, pets, Leo, and ego out of control. Depressed gambling and losing on break in 5D, tempted by the Six of Cups, innocent, pure love, and blocking EE, or energetic exchange. Not telling their feelings to the King of Pentacles reversed, Capricorn, pretending not to know, with the High Priestess upright and the Fool reversed. A secret crush or religious fool with Pisces upright and Aries reversed. Or a religious woman shaming them for having a lapdog, always trailing them. A dog who loves you no matter what. At 8:05, the dance of the Five of freedom, expansion. And change. Synchronicities and sages, the Queen of Cups, dreamy lover, the sister or suffering in silence, dumping emotional attachments or EAs, teaching and learning, healing and forgiveness. In the recent past with the Five of Swords, the frog stretching to the prince, becoming the prince, juggling 3, but saving 2 for later. They think their poop doesn't stink. At war, the hermit is shedding light on resistance, the Battle of Normandy. The Sovereign upright and the Knight of Pentacles upright, offering very little and actually dumping on the performer, pushing their buttons, juggling in the disconnect or at a distance in bliss with the Queen of Cups focusing on their heart, and love without trying so hard. Perhaps overworked here, or not working at all. The Empress upright without a choice but to move, travel, or ascend, to come clean or clean up. Facing their fears, reflecting of self. The Sovereign and the Knight of Pentacles are perhaps 2 siblings or 2 earth signs offering some help, but there's no love to the one trying to keep their balls up in the air and disconnect or at a distance from the blissful Queen of Cups, willing to offer love. The foundation is the Knight of Swords reversed. At 8:16, the dance of the Tower, lashing out or holding tongue, or the silent treatment perhaps. The Ten of Cups reversed, not happy at all, and the Wounded Warrior reversed is surrendering, perhaps seen, though, as giving up. Taking a break in 5D connection or running out of options for justice, truth and balance, or Libra. And the central energy is the transition card upright of the King of Cups reversed, perhaps Scorpio at 8:18, the dance of the 18 of the moon, perhaps with an opportunity, or the King of Cups reversed in an ending, death, or transition. Dark night of the soul, with the Page of Pentacles uncomfortable at night alone in the house, or in a move or visit, or people visiting. The Knight of Swords reversed with no delivery or perhaps a bad delivery, lashing out or in the silent treatment, challenged by the Tower reversed, avoiding disaster, or after a sudden event, epiphany, or sexual exchange already hit, performing, juggling to release imprisonment, anxiety at work, too many messages to keep up with, temptation of the Knight of Swords reversed, or a verbally abusive Capricorn. And the King of Pentacles reversed, Taurus, or marriage, business, or religion, and the King of Pentacles reversed with God, and the Knight of Swords reversed may be the devil. The High Priestess, Queen of Wands reversed, with Pisces, Taurus, Capricorn, or Queen of Wands may be sick with a nurse, advisor, or aide, or perhaps the help. Spiritual or religious woman, or Viking, Middle Eastern, the Good Old Boys Club, and the devil incarnate, with the Emperor reversed, out of control, falling from grace, or just no faith, and the King of Cups reversed with bad timing or in a twist of fate, hanging out after a sudden event, or Aries reversed and Libra reversed, Capricorn and Pisces upright, with Scorpio reversed as well, withholding, saving, or playing hardball to find peace or travel while things are slow, facing fears or defensive end, starting over in a divorce or divorce court, or with Libra here. And now here's the Page of Wands reversed, frustrated, removing the mask, after sudden events, epiphanies, or not telling, and blocking energy, coming clean, or still being sneaky. With the Empress upright, the wounded warrior surrendering to synchronicities and heaven in their eyes, present to the King of Wands, and the Page of Wands reversed with the King of Wands and the Empress here. So that could be like a father and child with the father's mother there too, grandmother, or that can be their spouse as well. With Taurus upright, Scorpio and Aries both reversed, and the Strength card upright, strong-arming tactics, tackling the boar or the beast. The Sovereign is obsessing, and the Emperor reversed is burdened at work, grieving a loss, regret, or insecure without the tools, or for having been manipulative, ending conflict, the Knight of Pentacles offering help or friendship to heal from a breakup or a disconnect or someone at a distance, of Lovers or third party letting go of some stuff, but mostly emotional attachments or EAs, and the Divine Feminine in 5D with Pisces reversed or the World upside down, but no longer confused. No more flirting crap, and ending the conflict with the Queen of Swords upright with the Man in the Mirror and the World upside down, and the Divine Feminine in the 5D hung out to dry by the King of Swords, supposedly a moral man, with Pisces reversed and Capricorn upright here, or the King and Queen of Swords around the world, or the block on break, in a slowdown of Libra reversed and Libra upright, facing fears to start over, and soon the Three of Wands, being present, being strong, healthy, perhaps a child, pet, Leo, or ego, and magnetizing rumors, or the Page of Swords reversed with a sassy mouth. Kids, pets, Leo, and ego out of control or overexposed and dissatisfied or defenseless, sharing or settling out to find peace in transition, with the Queen of Pentacles reversed under the radar, or perhaps feeling a failure at 842, the dance of the one-to-one. And that is the Two Cups with the string, which is communication. The twin flames seeing themselves as the Two of Swords upright, knowing and staying clear or keeping their energy clear, or perhaps keeping to themselves or pretending not to know so they don't have to deal with something. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles reversed, the Page of Cups reversed, and the Knight of Cups upright, or the Queen of Pentacles reversed rejected, but still being love. Overworked, not working, exiled, and injured, the Queen of Swords speaking up for those who can't, perhaps in a split, divide, or lie, and the Knight of Wands reversed player, or falling short in a split with the Queen of Pentacles reversed over the Page of Cups reversed, or rejection, and released the Knight of Cups upright, or released by them, with trust, reconciliation, but also freeing yourself and let your friends help. And yes, the situation involves a marriage. Around the twins, or how they're seen, is the Seven of Pentacles, the Divine Feminine's heart in the E-Tower, boldly moving, holding back announcements, in need of healing, dreaming, with Cancer upright and Aquarius times 2 perhaps. With the Cancer upright and Aquarius perhaps needing to swallow their pride, or perhaps they're scared and depressed, or Cancer driving by, but not needed by the Divine Feminine, or perhaps needs to call first and or heal first. Not okay to just show up unannounced and depressed, expecting someone to fix them. The block here is the Six of Pentacles upright, sharing means or sharing news of dividing. We have environment here, but even more so, manifestation, patience, health, and domestic harmony. Justice with 2 spoons of sugar and a visitor move, or the party's just over, with the Chariot upright, frustrated and wanting to start over, with the Queen of Swords upright, with Libra in their chart, perhaps facing their fears and starting again, with justice, truth, fairness, and balance, or perhaps Libra, and a bold move or travel, ascending to the Queen of Pentacles reversed, driving around the neighborhood, happy to hang out, the King of Swords upright. The Queen of Pentacles reversed is holding back announcements now that the worst is over and the bliss is in. The Ten of Cups reversed, another cycle so over, and the Knight of Pentacles offering help. Dark night, Scorpio, transition or transformation, with the Queen of Pentacles reversed and the Knight of Pentacles upright, breaking up the act, now the worst is over for the Queen of Cups upright, who could be a Cancer or Scorpio. The Queen of Cups upright and the Knight of Swords reversed, perhaps knowing and keeping words to themselves, at the E Tower, reaping rewards, juggling in transition and challenged by recent events, or present to sharing or a settlement. With the Page of Wands reversed, frustrated or uninspired, sick or removing the mask for their travels, with the Queen of Pentacles reversed, coming clean or cleaning up now that the worst is over, of pain and emotions, and the Knight of Pentacles making a proposal. The King of Cups reversed, Cancer, perhaps made an offer to the King of Swords to heal or forgive. The Emperor reversed. The Sovereign could be a Virgo with Cancer. Emotionally unavailable or with depression or alcohol issues. And the King of Swords was coming up as the King of Swords here, perhaps healing, and Gemini, and the Emperor reverse, losing control or past, or Gemini father who left an inheritance. The Queen of Cups, after finding peace in purging, stretching, and growing, or the frog stretching to become the prince, and dealing with synchronicities, with the Knight of Swords reversed, transitioning, and challenged by avoiding disaster, or after sudden events, with Scorpio all over the core here, both upright and reversed, and the Page of Wands reversed, frustrated, knowing and floating and present to the Divine Feminine's heart in the E Tower, reaping rewards and sharing, moving, traveling, or ascension, boldly moving with the Page of Wands reversed, in on the Queen of Pentacles reversed, when they're holding back announcements, the worst is over, the end to the cycles of the Knight of Pentacles upright, and the Grim Reaper coming in at 9:16, which is the Hermit and the Tower. With Scorpio and Cancer, perhaps a Virgo Cancer, and Scorpio air or earth, and fiery kids with the Page of Wands, Knight of Wands, and the Queen of Wands are all reversed here. Probably Aries reversed and Sag reversed, and the King of Wands may be a Leo. The Queen of Wands reversed may be an Aries with water, with Pisces and Sag reversed and Aquarius reversed, but Cancer there's Cancer there too. Of the fire signs, they were all in a negative aspect today, except for the Leo. And only one Leo was upright, the other one was reversed. But all the Aries and Sag were reversed. But it was coming up as the fire, as the kids being out of control. A lot of young energies. The King of Wands was upright. So we had the ones who were double uprights, so in really positive energy, was Taurus, Cancer, and Capricorn. The ones who were in really negative energy were Aries, Sag, and Aquarius. The others had both. Okay, so I'm going to give you my message of the day as well that I did last night. So the shark, the faces, the Two of Wands reversed, and the occupation. Let's see if I have that picture. I believe I do. Yeah, it's this one here. Okay. All right, so my message of the day. And this is at 1 hour, 23 minutes. If you want to tag that, you can. So the shark attack. This was at 10:55 last night. The Wheel of Fortune and the 55 of the Truth. Excalibur, the Ace of Swords. The Page of Cups with multiple faces of vulnerability, out of options and occupied with energetic exchange. As the eagle dives, the raccoon in the dark and depressed, the buffalo well grounded and comfy, or comforting the raccoon, while the eagle triggers them. The black egg is all about the throat chakra and speaking your truth, between the buffalo and the fox with shark side to them. At 11:10, the magic adventure to the loving lady is present, grounding, integrating the details, a closer look at the doors to open on the fool's journey. With new love and diving deep, the King of Wands pests, or the King of Wands with the rugrats, and the Page of Cups very vulnerable in the Fun House or Hotel California. You may check in, but you may never leave as well. The moon illuminating the night, the announcement call or Cancer, Aquarius, and Queen of Wands reversed X, or pissed off without affection and uncomfortable in a betrayal or in getting a message, in a painful ending or out of options, and the wealthy man in transition, union, adjudication, and perhaps hitting the jackpot, aligning with sudden wealth, with sudden thoughts of a woman, perhaps the main female, and the mature man, Hierophant, hermiting changes and occupied by energetic exchange, or EE, or very busy job. The first section here is the collective awakening, or the snake, and the tarantula. The snake is unanchored or cut free, the fool free to leap with a message, the vehicle of infiltration. The tarantula with a choice of path as the fox leaves the hen house frustrated with the false person in the dance of the mask. The fool is abused, unable to understand at 11:20, which is justice and judgment. The second section is the owl and the turtle, wise and slow. The owl romantic pup, reminiscing about the 10 of Cups happiness, perhaps, and a death as well. The turtle reaping rewards of burdens of unexpected income or incoming, as the emotional cycle is over, the physical cycle is over. And this was coming up in the message of the day, but in the read as well is coming up as the 10 of Cups and the 10 of Swords, both like done. And yeah, and this one's coming up as the 10 of Cups and the 10 of Wands. So same type of energy of those endings. The third section here is the fire flants, the fire ants and the hawk. The wound getting bigger, the longer it's left open. 2 as 1 swans, the Queen of Wands and Libra main male, and the hawk clearing the way for the Knight of Wands to commit. The King of Wands reversed Atlas with pie in the sky, and the ship with nothing to ground into, nothing to float their boat. With Libra King of Wands reversed and married to the Queen of Wands, the entry wound, she destined to be with the main male, and he committed to Atlas to be sick and tired. The fourth section is the hummingbird and the wolf, who's stunned. The bird suddenly a star or triumphing over the emperor's courtship. The wolf without his pack, and the lovers in a breakthrough, keeping their cards close to their chest about the hard-working Queen of Cups. The fifth section is the tiger and the lamb, stalking the target. Crouching tiger, hidden dragon, as the tiger with luck and the Knight of Cups offering a dream gift. The lamb a target as the King of Cups with timelines completed, with concerns of standing up and martyring themselves as the Knight of Cups Pisces, or offering love to Pisces and or Divine Feminine. The sixth section here is the stingray and the cobra. The stingray is plugged into the cobra. The stingray Knight of Cups gambler, perhaps implementing a plan to transform the wounded warrior's path. And the cobra with wise counsel, or starting over, but presently imprisoned, anxious, or trapped. The seventh section is the golden egg, which is the heart chakra, and the vulture. Perhaps the golden child and the old man. The child cracking the whip, or being harsh, aligning with ending conflict, with the Queen of Wands thief, or the Queen of Wands who created one. You know, it's like creating the monster. Or the vulture inspired to read or crack codes, and the wounded warrior, or jumping from a plane, down on one knee, the Knight of Wands of high honor. The Page of Wands, Knight of Wands, and Queen of Wands. Again, these three came up in the main read too, right in a row, just like this. Page of Wands, Knight of Wands, and Queen of Wands. Perhaps a child was stolen or a father was lost. And that stolen, you know, can be just wars and a divorce or that kind of thing. That's the energy I was getting when I wrote that down. But because we have the Page of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and Queen of Wands would be like, you know, 2 kids and a mom taken away from the father, or a child who lost their father was the energy that was coming up right there. The Page, Knight, and Queen can also be 3 siblings or 3 fire signs. So the 8th section here is the panther, the firefly, and the scorpion. The panther, so the pants are, somebody might be dealing with figuring out what pants to wear. The panther causing havoc. The firefly is inspiring, but that's fleeting, and the scorpion stings. The panther is exposing the institution with issues at work, with the King of Wands at the courthouse, or perhaps legal paperwork. The firefly is coming together, but perhaps confused, traveling at night, getting lost at the privileged lady's house, and scorpion with stinger out. Atlas burdened with the inequity of the house and judgment and legal rights. Leo, King of Wands, perhaps with legal issues at work. The firefly is confused how to get places when it's dark out. Perhaps someone needs glasses or something like that as well. Or perhaps a young person who's just scared because they don't know the area. not knowing how to get places when it's dark, to the privileged lady's house at 1206, which is the hanging man and the lovers. And the Scorpion is shocking Atlas with debt on the house. And then the 9th section is the otter and the fish out of water. Curious and scattered, otter stands up and frees themselves. The Knight of Wands complete with empty nest. The fish without direction of 1 to 1. And the Knight of Swords reversed with the worrier, like worrying, not warrior, but worrying. And I wrote worriest by accident. I don't know what I meant to write there, but somebody's lashing out and losing their temper. And that's coming up at the Knight of Swords reversed. So let's pull a few oracle cards real quick. It's already 1:30. So yeah, so be careful with the sudden debt that was unexpected too. Be careful about that. That could be a partner trying to screw another partner over, or somebody like taking a mortgage out on a house that doesn't belong to them, which is a scam. So be careful about that. If you're worried about anything like that, you might want to check with your title to make sure it's clear that no one's been trying to access it or take a loan out on it. At 9:11, which is the emergency energy, that's the time on the clock right now. So let's go ahead and pull just a quick couple cards. Actually, I'm just going to pull a card from the energy deck and then a Journey of Love card for you guys, since it's already long already. Really long. So from the energy deck, what's our takeaway from the read? It's still 9:11 on the clock. Okay, we've got the broken heart. So there's definitely that separation energy, but remember, divide is also sharing. We divvy up to share. The 9 is the Hermit, and remember, you have to, in order to expand something, it has to crack. And then just like I had my roof of my mouth expanded when I was little, it's that same kind of energy. It takes time to pull it apart and heal it, right? The Temple path is coming up, which is that wise energy of seeing new perspectives, right? Hanging out and being wise, healing yourself, hermiting. And then attachment, removing the mask. The 5 of expansion, change, and freedom. And the Hierophant of commitment and guidance and societal norms. So it's really just about seeing new perspectives on these things that you've been looking at for a while, and the journey. Seeing that new perspective. Remember that the separation is also sharing. The 2 of the High Priestess, the Divine Feminine, in the middle of the bridge. Her bags are packed and ready to go. And which way to go? There's so many directions. In the middle of the bridge, there's that 0 point energy on the journey of the feminine. Right? Somebody was talking about removing their mask in order to travel. And there's definitely that energy right here. And that could be a young person, a teenager or something. Maybe one of their parents is really paranoid about it and they can't stand it anymore. Talk about that, right? This is someone who's very anxious. Anxiety issues, fears, paranoias. And it's time to take action and merge the polarities. The 17 is dreams coming true. And this is very much about that energy of merging the twins coming together. And then the bottom of the deck is the thinking man. Okay, and that was coming up in the read today too, as the divine masculine, both within the masculine and feminine, has to do with the logical mind, right? And the feminine has to do with the connecting to source energy, okay, in both of you. And then the financial constraints. So this can be any kind of destitution, right? It can be financial, spiritual, emotional, right? It has to do with being in transition and feeling like you don't have what you need to get to the other side, basically. And there's a lot of cobwebs here too, so you might be taking stuff out of storage or cleaning up the basement. And again, someone getting into their inner child again after doing this, right? When you've got nothing to lose, well, guess what happens? You become inspired. And that's the 46 of the 6 of Cups, the children and that innocent love, perhaps positive thoughts of their childhood or their children, or a soulmate love. And let's see what else is going on here. Right? And this is like someone, you know, as an example, who goes from a really heavy schedule, who makes a lot of money and has a lot of responsibilities, and then all of a sudden quitting that position, leaving the family and having no responsibilities and no money, and all of a sudden realizing, wow, I can do whatever I want. I don't have any responsibilities. And being inspired. That's the kind of energy that's at the bottom of the deck here with the masculine. And again, closing the gap between the polarities. All right, what is our takeaway from the journey of love for the twins today? Okay, we got 2 or 3 here actually. 3 to 1. 3 to 1 jump. And there's that 2 in the middle, right? Like 1 to 1. Here's 3 to 1. The mother, father, child, the 10 of the high vibration, being in that vortex. But in this card, especially, it looks like you're in a big underground tunnel. Tunnel vision I'm getting. And again, they're bringing up because of what I was telling you from my meditation today. Like there's access out of the planet through the ground or through, you know, because I was getting the algae or the aloe vera plant, and then the stingray, not the stingray, the jellyfish. I got the stingray too. But that jellyfish energy as well. They're all kind of like in the water, and the islands were coming up. So there's like a portal exit point there. And the islands that I brought up with the orangutans as well. And then we have to dream a little. So there's that kind of like chakra energy of the 51 of the King of Swords. Being in the masculine, but the pure side of the masculine, of purifying things. But also allowing yourself to dream a little instead of being so stuck on making sure everything's clean and perfect in its place. Look at these 2 cards. I wanted you to notice something that I noticed. In both of these pictures, the feminine is looking down, they're looking for something that's coming. They're both doing the exact same thing. The masculine standing here with the child, but the female is looking over there, and so is she. She's kind of looking at the light at the end of the tunnel. And she has red hair, and that came up today. That's why I'm bringing it up. And then we have intimacy as well, which is the wounded warrior. And there we are again in the vortex, right? This is that energy. It looks like a lens of a camera, but it also is the vortex and the energy of the cyclone here, that they're able to stand in the cyclone without freaking out, without being triggered. And it's the same thing as the sexual energy. You have to be able to withstand the tornado, but also being filled with that sexual energy without the need to push it out of you, right? It's very intense. And there's this reflection of this energy to this. It's kind of like inside out. I want to like if you were to, like, you know when I was saying the energy was folding in upon itself in my meditation? I'm getting that here as well. It's like folding in upon itself as the feminine's in the middle, dreaming a little bit with the King of Swords energy. I feel like there's a child in this picture, and this is that third energy going out on their own to dream a little, so that these 2 can be alone, right? Because you have the parents here, and there's that third, the child is going out on their own. That could be a mother going out on their own as well, but it definitely feels like a feminine energy. These 2 want to be seen as well, the simplicity of the Emperor energy, the 4 and the home. The spiral dance of the goddess, the 29, is being present in the moment. But again, this could be present to feeling choked to death, right? Because this is like a strangulation of the fallopian tubes. So I hope no one's got an ectopic pregnancy, but that's this kind of energy where it's gangrene because it's being strangled. The spiral dance of the god, and this is very like army green. It can be olive oil as well, though. The spiral dance of the goddess with the 29 being present in the moment, perhaps waiting for a ship to come in, but I don't get that energy for me. Keep it simple. Untie the knots. right? Don't strangle yourself. Don't choke yourself. Don't make things so difficult for yourself that you can't breathe. You know, it's like that strangulation energy here is what I'm getting there. Keep it simple, because that has to do with someone who's got anxieties or, you know, a lot of phobias or fears. Keep it simple. You don't need to have a complicated life. Just be happy. The bottom of the deck is shifting universes. Again, shifting perspective, the 7 of the Chariot. There's a lot of symbols and music energy here. And the Pearl Threaded, which is the 2 cups and the phone line here that goes through every human. The 38 of the Queen of Cups and the Pearl Threaded is that Mary Magdalene energy. And the music of shifting universes. The shifting. The inner, I'm getting like the gears all shifting. I'm seeing like golf clubs. Somebody's golfing. That's true. I know who's going to be golfing, actually. Golfing is coming up here in music, of course. But there's some other sports kind of stuff coming up in this. The window is coming. Somebody might be putting a window in, too. Yeah. And this wanted to be seen, too, across the waters because it's the King of Wands. But here's the feminine standing in the chaos, unfeathered, or not affected, waiting for and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And alignment's coming in for the Lovers, the next one. Alignment of the Lovers, 6 is the Lovers. Angel of Jupiter awakening, but I wasn't even going to show you that one. All right, so we got shifting universes. Let's see what that one says. The first one was number 10, which is 3, 2, 1. There's a heavenly child in your midst. It may be within your heart, your womb, or a glimmer in your eyes soon to be. This child holds the key to fulfillment of a process that's happening for you now. The child might be a physical culmination of your marriage or commitment to another. It might be a symbolic birthing of a new self after time of learning to bring male energies of protection and discernment together with female energies of feeling and creativity, whether within yourself or in your relationship with another. The child might symbolically be a new life, an improved relationship, a book, a new job, a completed or completely renewed way of dealing with what was once a challenging issue and so soon will not be an issue for you anymore. Just to name some examples. From masculine to feminine to child, there is just one now, a new reality dawning with grace. This oracle holds a message for you. New life is upon you now. You're being reborn and you will give birth to what is meant for you in this lifetime. There is no need to worry. Just pray with an open heart that you may be supported to fulfill your destiny. You already are, of course, but prayer can help you realize it. The rest is in the loving and capable hands of the divine. And the poem reads, love is what makes the heart beat faster, the lump in my throat, the feeling of missing you so much that I can't wait to be with you again. And then we are. And I look in your eyes deeper, and I know the unspoken words that say I love you, and feel words in return. How short each lifetime seems, but what I feel with you lasts forever. May love be the compass that guides you on the course of a lifetime. And so, remember your water, your beauty rest, your joy in your nature. And take a deep breath. And be well, and rise and be loved, guys. I'll see you soon. Have an amazing day. Bye, guys.